What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Got a couple of quick duels for you guys to check out. Overextension must be punished in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it will, at least in this first duel anyways. We got Pendulums facing off against Gravekeepers, and my goodness, this is like the most anti-Gravekeeper or the most anti-Pendulum hand I've seen. Not just to lose one turn, which can actually be good against Link Monsters. Link Monsters cannot go to defense mode, however, it does still shut down their monster effects. Mainly, I'm looking at the Unending Nightmare. This card basically beats the entire Pendulum mechanic because they put a Pendulum scale in the Pendulum zone. You just pay 1,000 life points, you pop that card. Basically, they gotta run you out of like life points, or they have to have more scales than you have life points, and that's kind of difficult. Anyways, we'll see where this duel takes us. I believe that Gravekeeper's GKs are up first, and he's going to, open with the Necro Valley. Standard stuff. Double Into the Void into double Allure of Darkness. Don't complain that you didn't get to draw any cards, because I believe that I'm pretty sure you just drew 6 cards off of a few activations, so no complaining about that. He is going to activate a couple of scales. Unending Nightmare will be used. You can argue that when he goes for Chronograph, I think he should have activated Lose One Turn. That would have stopped the Chronograph from summoning any other monsters. I feel like that probably would have been really good for him. Plus, Chronograph would have went to defense mode. All of this would have been shut down. He is going to use it on the Magispect the Raccoon. No search for you. He does let him Pendulum summon as well. I think I would have not let him do that. He goes for Electromite. I guess he didn't realize that Link monsters are still affected by Lose One Turn, even if they're not in defense position. He is going to pick up that Torrential, and that can definitely be the game breaker. Electromite will be used for him to draw a card. A third Allure of Darkness. So, I mean, everything is just coming up roses for this guy. Well, outside of the Lose One Turn and the, the Unending Nightmare, the continuous trap cards that are locking him down. He is going to go in the battle phase, but his opponent has the Necro Valley Temple that can debuff all his opponent's monsters, and the Necro Valley or the Gravekeeper's Headsman is also gaining 500 defense points because of the Necro Valley. So oh my goodness, come on, you gotta know better than that. These young kids gonna learn one day. He goes for the tribute summon of the of the mythical beast Jackal. I think that was a tribute summon anyways. Falls victim to Torrential Tribute. The entire board is wiped clean, and then the top deck is just perfect. Gets the Necro Valley Throne, which can get him Recruiter, another monster that floats. He can attack, he can pop his opponent's scale, also in the battle phase, and I think Pendulum's just lost that duel on that summon. Servant of Endymion seems like a good defensive card, but he ends up top decking a monster, the Spiritualist, which now has 2,000 attack. When you have 2,000 attack, in a monster in a top deck war, you're really not afraid of attacking into face down monsters. Servant puts himself in the Pendulum scale, and that's pretty bad, because now he's locked into like scales 2 and 0, so that's not very good. Servant not doing so well there. Spiritualist did not get the search during the end phase because it was affected by Lose One Turn, and I like this. The Servant of Endymion has 2 counters on it, and the Gravekeeper player refuses to activate the Extravagance. He says, I'm not giving you the 3rd counter, you gotta get it on there yourself. He's just gonna start going in the battle phase, and that probably is going to be the game. Well, I mean, I guess, see what your top deck is before you end up scooping it up. It's let's see, that's an Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's gonna be a scoop phase right there. Our second duel is going to feature some Heraldics, and they're gonna be dueling against Charmers. I kind of wonder where Konami would take a Charmer structure deck. You guys know that Charmers, I think, ended up getting like 3rd place in the poll voting, and I just wonder what Konami would do. Anyways, Heraldics right now are basically a deck that they're getting new cards, but they're kind of like a Time Thief deck where they kind of go for like Perpetua and they go for Redoer. They try to turbo these cards out as quickly as possible. Usually you can get flyback from your deck off Perpetua, and that gives you a disruption, plus you have Redoer. His opponent did summon 4 monsters like that, and Permanence is going to shut down the Win Charmer monster, the Link one, that was trying to summon one of his Win monsters from his graveyard. I think he's probably going to spin her ass back to the deck during the end phase. Yep, say bye-bye to Win. He's going to activate the Redoer again, probably looking for some spell cards or another trap card. Unfortunately, all he's finding is monsters. Yeah, it kind of sucks when you have Redoer and you can't find spells and traps because then you're just like, you're only getting that banish effect. He does have this the unpossessed, and that does give him a little bit of floating, but I feel like it's a little difficult for Charmers to get their offense going. A lot of their link monsters just kind of have the same effects. They're based on the opponent's graveyard, so that can be a little difficult to maneuver if your opponent's graveyard isn't set up the way you want it. Like, I would argue right now that instead of going for these links like Hita and Asa, maybe he should just try to go for a rank 4 play. Like, maybe go for Utopia double. Like, that can be a win condition. Go Utopia double, attack over your opponent's Time Thief Winder, and hopefully you can just one-shot him. He is just going to attack a couple of times. Redoer is going to get itself off the field, and he gets a little bit of damage in. I think that the Time Thief player is going to look for a very big play during this turn, as he's going to drop a couple of Xyzs. His extra monster zone is free. That's the most important thing. And he's going to go for a copy of Tornado Dragon, pop his opponent's back row, and then, check this out, he's got 3 Xyz monsters on the field. This is what I like about these Xyz archetypes. When you're in a position where you have a bunch of Xyzs, but they can't get over what your opponent has, you can just go for this, boom, link them all into the Mega Clops. Such an amazing card. Not only does it give you extra monster zones open, but then you can snatch steal one of your opponent's monsters, and you can monster reborn one of your Xyzs in the process. So it gives you also a 4,000 attack monster that's unaffected by monster effects that are not Xyz monsters. It's just such a damn hard card to actually kill. He's gonna go for Abyss Dweller, a little bit of icing on the cake, bring back the Time Thief for Doer, and put another flyback on it, I believe. Is that flyback? Yep, that's flyback to disrupt his opponent. He gets a trap card finally. And it looks like that's pretty much the end of this duel. What was his set card? It was a Time Thief Retrograde. Okay, yeah, this guy had almost no chance of winning this duel. Not only did he have a 4,000 attack Mega Clops, but he also had his Infernity Barrier in Retrograde here. And then he had Disruption with the Time Thief for Doer that had flyback on it. So that was also some non-targeting removal. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the short duels. If you did, give a video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.